All right. Here we go, one of those videos that I kind of like doing, I kind of don't like doing. But I'm going to start calling them clarification videos. So let's clarify what's happening with the 405. I went back to the 405. And here's why I went back to the 405. It was a very simple deal. It was something that actually we discussed, Ryan and I talked about doing 2.5 years ago. And there was, well, we all know what the stumbling blocks and the problems were with the 405. And everybody's going to see that come to light, just like the video that I did that time. Everybody went back, started watching old episodes and seeing what the problem really was. Well, now you're going to see a whole different 405 than you've ever seen before, unless you go back to the beginning and look at how it was. So when Sean and Ryan had talked to me about coming back to the 405, I said I wasn't interested in doing it because I didn't believe in what we were doing when I left. We're racing full-blown pro mods because the 25-1's a 25-1's a 25-1. They're all the same cert, they're all the same chassis. But that's what we were racing on the street, claiming to have the fastest street race cars in America, which is true. But it's hard to believe in, it's hard to stay with something that you don't believe in. And I didn't believe that was what that's not what I was about. I didn't feel like that's what it had evolved into. But that's not how it started. So I said the only way I'd be interested is if we went back and did what we talked about 2.5 years ago. Let's go back to street cars. Everybody keeps saying small tire, small tire, small tire, small tire. Fuck all this small tire bullshit talk, guys. Small tires is, I put 28-10-5s, I did it on the orange car, and that's a small tire car. You take a full-blown Jerry Bickle Pro Mod, you put small tires on it, and it's deemed a small tire car. None of these are small tire cars. They are street cars running on a small tire. There's a lot of talk about the rules, the rules, the rules. Well, let me clue everybody in on something that's not smart enough to realize it. Show me these written fucking rules, because there's not any written rules on the 405 show. This is OG street car stuff. That's what it is. Going back to where we started, in cars that we could have fun in, that we could drive, that we can believe in what we're doing. When we say street cars, everybody knows what a real street car is. That's the funny thing about it. So you put rules on it, and that gives every fucking idiot out there, or the super smart guys, or the super rich guys, a chance to fucking get around the rules. That's all rules are for. Rules suck. We put a basic set of guidelines out there. Your car needs to fall in this parameter. And for the most part, the biggest percentage of the cars fall into that parameter. Our cars, I feel like, all fall into that parameter. Some of them on the outside scale are pushing the limit of that, and some of them way below that. To say that any of the cars that we're driving are not street cars is bullshit, because we're driving the cars. So everybody wants to get a set of rules put together, but they want to get a set of rules put together so they can figure out how to fucking cheat them. That's all rules are for. Every great thing in racing has been ruled to death and brought money into the equation. There is a set of basic guidelines. We're all running 28-10-5 tires. We have full interior. We have, exhaust. We have all real cars. The funny thing about this is every guy out there that's a true car guy, in his heart knows what a fucking street car is. He knows what a real street car is. What everybody wants to do is they want to take their car that skates that fucking limit and try to find justification to race that car. I guess the way my fucked up thinking is, everybody should be stand up and fucking real. If you have a 4-link strut front end, one-piece glass front end, Lexan windows car with full interior, mufflers, and you can drive it, that doesn't make it a true street car, but it is a street car. So that's why everybody wants to know what these rules are, because they want to figure out how to cheat them. We haven't done rules for it. It's a real simple deal. We take the 10 or 12 or 15 cars that we're racing, and we look at those cars, and if in our opinion those cars fit the guidelines that our cars fit in, then we set it up to race them. And so far it's working good. We've had some cars that slipped through in moments of weakness that us not wanting to say that car is outside the rules, we're not going to let it race. We've let some cars in that we shouldn't have let in, and we'll just have to we'll have to deal with that next season. But this season was a test to see how everybody reacted, how everybody liked it, what the energy was, what the atmosphere was. Because if you guys have been watching the show, fucking race nights suck. Nobody was excited about it. Everybody's fighting. Everybody's arguing. This is the tightest this 405 group has ever been. And for the first time in almost 8 years of doing this, I can honestly say I'm part of a real team. So everybody worked their ass off. We filmed an entire season in 4 weeks. And it was a ball-busting deal. You guys will see the struggles. You'll see the guys come up. I wanted to take this car. I couldn't take this car, couldn't get it back together. So I switched over to the Nova. Motor was down in the Nova, had to switch off of the Nova. Used Stacy's car for a couple for an episode. Got that car lined out, flipped the drive shaft out, put a hole this fucking big in the floorboard. We'll do a video on that later today. And basically kind of semi-destroyed her car. Raced my truck one night, and then I got the Nova and started dialing it in. First race with the Nova, didn't come out too good. Then we started kicking ass, and the car started doing well. We had a very limited amount of time to race, because you have to race them and then fix them. Not really fix them, but try to make them faster. And in true 405 fashion, these cars came around faster than even we thought they could have. You know, we got our asses kicked. We kicked some ass. It's a great season. I haven't been doing videos and stuff on it because, I don't know, I guess I'm just one of them stupid fucking guys. They're paying me to be there. They're paying me to do a job and be part of the show. And I don't feel like it's my right to post videos up about what's going on with it. That would take the suspense of what this is what's going to cause a lot of people to tune into it. My hope is that we bring back people that have walked away from the show because they didn't like it anymore and didn't believe what it had become. Another part of my hope is that this brings people in that are real car guys that didn't watch it before. You know, we're driving these cars, we're having fun with these cars, we're working on the cars. It's a totally different deal. It's more blue collar street cars than it's ever been. You know, everybody's going to bitch, cry, whine, piss, and moan because they're not the fastest, or they're not this, or they're not that, or this car is not as much a street car as my car is. Every car on the 405 show, in my opinion, whether it's meets it 100% or meets it at 75%, everybody drove the cars. Everybody met the guidelines. We also let cars in that skated the guidelines because we didn't want to tell them no. We didn't want to be the ones to go, yeah, well, this is why you have to write rules. First off, guys, we don't have to do a goddamn thing but make a really good show that entertains you guys and makes you guys want to turn it on and watch it the next week. That is our job. Our job, and this year, for the first time, our job is to make a really killer show that you guys want to watch, entertain you guys, and have fun. The fun part's been out of this for me for a long time. My followers have watched me come up and down with this deal. They've watched me struggle with it. They've watched me walk away. They watched me come back. The only reason I came back is when Sean and Ryan had called me and said, hey, we want you to come back. I said, guys, I just can't. I don't. And they said, why not? I said, because I didn't believe in what we were doing. If we could go back to the street cars, to the street stuff, I'd be all in. And I'd be all in like I never had before. And this brought around change, not just because of me, but because Sean Ellington is the most solid fucking car guy out there. He's like me. He lives, breathes the passion for this stuff, whether it's a Volkswagen Rabbit with nitrous and turbos, or if it's 32 Ford Coupe. It doesn't matter. He's as down to earth car guy to the core of everything that he is. And he instantly knew, when we talked about it, we all know what a street car is. We all know what the guidelines should have been. And I, for one, said we don't need to write rules, because once we write those rules, we're married to those rules for the end of the days. And everybody tries to figure out how to cheat them. If everybody was just an honest motherfuckers, if everybody could just say, hey, okay, I know what a fucking street car is. I don't need an advantage. I'm going to work with what I got within these parameters to try to be as fast as I can possibly be. But nobody wants to do that. They want to figure out, they want a written set of list of rules to where they go down through there and go, okay, well, there's a gray area here and there's a gray area there. It's all a gray area now. It's left open for interpretation, but it's left open for interpretation for the people that are picking the cars and deciding, and not one person decides. You get a list of cars and you go, hey, this car's got a wing. We know that's not street. Hey, this car's got fucking dual parachutes on it. Hey, we know that's not a street car. This car's got this car's a center steer car. Well, fuck, we know that's not a race car, or that's not a street car. That's a full-blown race car. It's got zoomies. It's got this. It's got that. We had a very diverse group of cars. We had everything from muscle cars to exotic cars and everything in between. Everybody's going to try to, well, no, I can't really say it. I was going to say everybody's going to try to tear this down, but I'll be honest with you, all you internet troll cocksuckers, I don't think you can find a problem with this deal. And if you can, you're having to look so fucking deep, and you're probably just fucking carrying over the animosity because I said you were a fucking dweeb. Because this is the coolest shit that we've ever done. The guys are different than they've ever been, or maybe they're just getting back to the people that they always were and lost sight of at some point. I know when I won my first race, the 405 lined up all the way across the starting line and congratulated me coming back. Sean come over and he goes, how did that feel? I said, that's the first time that has ever happened in 8 years of being a part of this. That is the first time those guys were truly happy that I'd won. The rest of the other times when I would win, and if you go back to fucking season, the first 3 or 4 seasons I was on there, I never fell out of the top 5. You never seen a line of guys congratulating me coming back. But it's kind of one of those things that this is a metaphor, but it does fucking fit. One bad apple can spoil the whole barrel. And now, hey, we're coming fresh off the vine. Or fresh off the tree, I guess, if we're talking about apples. Everybody's excited. Everybody's having fun. Of course, there's some guys that aren't fucking happy that wanted it to be this way or wanted to, they wanted a little bit more of an advantage one way or the other or whatever. But who gives a fuck, guys? At the end of the day, I think you're going to see the baddest fucking Street Outlaw show that you've ever seen. I think you guys are going to be able to relate to every car because there's something there from Dominator's Coupe all the way up to late model Mustang and everything in between. I was just going to use the Chevy 2 this first season and then switch the car over to this gold car. But to be honest with you, the more I thought about it, and well, basically, the car works. I got the car working like it used to. It works fucking phenomenal. It makes killer passes. But I am fixing to tear the car apart before the next season, and I'm gonna do something different. I'm not going to try to make it faster because it made some really good licks that I think just a little bit more tuning, a little more adjusting, it can be competitive with every car out there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the car back to being the nice car that it used to be. I talked to Ozzie and Manny at HPP. They're going to paint the car for me. They're going to slide that thing in, make the schedule, get their schedule and fit it in for me. Church Boys Racing is going to reassemble the car. We're going to tear the car completely apart. I'm going to take it down to Ozzie and Manny, let Ozzie squirt some paint on it, paint it back like it used to be, give it a facelift, make it nice and fresh again. And then I'm going to send it to Church Boys Racing. Chuck Church is going to put their newer front end underneath it. And we're going to put, here's my upgrades for the off season. I'm going to put the air back on it. I'm going to put all the comfort creatures that sounded good. All the creature comforts that car used to have. That car used to have air, power steering, power brakes, all that. But that's going to be my upgrades. I'm not working on trying to make it any faster. I'm going to make it more reliable, more bulletproof, and make it to where if I want to jump in that car, you guys have watched me drive that car for fucking years. You watched me jump in that car and drive it all over Oklahoma City. I mean, there was one time when I was going out to California, ran out of fuel in the Denali. I offloaded the car, drove it 40, 50 miles up the street one way to the gas station to get gas for the Denali, backed it off the trailer and drove it. Nobody can claim that car hasn't that car hasn't been raced on the street, and it's as street car as you get. But I'm gonna make it more bulletproof. I'm gonna make it nicer. I'm gonna put black interior in it because the blue is just too much blue for me. I'm gonna put it back to being a nice car. That's my upgrades. I'm not looking at trying to make it faster. None of that shit, because at the end of the day, guys, the roads we're racing on, the conditions that we're under, you're only going to go so fast out, no matter how much power. Now, there is something that a lot of people could help us out with, and I probably shouldn't put this out there, but I'm going to. The hardest problem that we have is finding roads that we can permit. And I don't understand what the problem is, because when we go out there, they have a safety crew, they have an ALS ambulance, they have, paramedic on site, it's just like being at the racetrack, other than the fact that you don't, safety-wise, it's like being at the racetrack. They permit the road, they pay the town, they spend a lot of money in the town, because whatever town that we're in, they buy everything in that town, motel rooms, food, all of that. So it has to be a minimum of 2,500 feet long, straight, flat. So if there's any towns out there or places and wherever that kind of have a road that they're willing to let us permit and come race at, that's our toughest problem we have right now. We would like to be able to race 2 nights on a road and go to another virgin road, race 2 nights on that road, go to another virgin road. We don't want it to become sticky. We don't want it to become Okema. We don't want it to become to where guys are able to go out there and run 550s on it. That's not the goal of this. The goal of this is to race any street, anywhere, anytime, and the roads are the number one roadblock that we have to deal with. For some reason, Oklahoma City will not let us have a road around here. I think that was from the original police chief, and they've never eased up on it. I wish they would, because there's a lot of good places right here that we could go race and have a lot of fun and be true to what we're trying to do, and not having to stay in one place that's becoming really good and really sticky out of necessity. So, in wrapping this whole video up, when the show airs, you guys, of course, I know there's going to be negative comments, there's going to be positive comments, but I just have a hard time believing that anybody can find a problem with this show. It's awesome. The energy is over the top. The cars are cool as fuck. The struggles are real. Let me tell you, the struggles are real. As long as it stays like this, I will be 405. I will be 405 on this show until I just literally physically couldn't fucking do it anymore. I had the most fun that I've had. I've worked harder. I've truly worked harder this season than I have any season. You guys see how hard I work at this? I probably worked harder this season than I ever have, and I had the most fun. Every time I got the car done, no matter how mad I was at it, I was actually excited when I was getting ready to go to race night. I was really fired up and excited about it. So I've let my social media drop and all of that, and I apologize for that. But the truth of the matter is, guys, when we're doing this stuff, I personally, this is a personal thing, it has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't feel like I have the right to start putting stuff out there of what's going on, or doing videos at race night and stuff and posting them on the internet, because, and it's just me. It's not against anybody else, but I feel like I'm being paid to do a job that I need to do my job and quit worrying about myself. But you guys know my social media has never been about the money with me. Otherwise, that's all I would do all the time, is do fucking videos. I don't. It's so great out there. Even Dave and I are back to, well, we're tighter than we've ever been, even back before we had the falling out. But it's that way with everybody. Well, I'm going to pull the Nova in here. It broke a starter on it. I'm going to put a flywheel. I'm going to put a starter on it. I've given myself I'm waiting on the motor from Scott Duggins for the MPK car. Don't know if we're going to make Tulsa or not. Probably going to be at Tulsa. Don't know if we're going to have the motor back in the car and have it dialed in for Tulsa. I'm going to try. But today I think I'm going to throw a flywheel, put a new starter on the Chevy 2, and I'm going to take it for a cruise and go out and drive it. Probably do some videos for you guys showing what I've done to it and how the car works and all that before I blow it all apart. I want to blow it apart now because we've got 3 or 4 months probably before we start filming the next season. So I want to have it done, tested, and ready to where I don't have to ride the struggle bus this next season. I can just enjoy what we're doing and have fun. All right, guys, I'm out.